that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody...
You wanted him to be an immigrant. That's what you wanted. You either wanted him to be a or a Mexican immigrant. Y'all was banking on it. Y'all was like, yes, if he could have just been a Mexican, if he could have just been black, we could have get this race war on and popping. Yeah. No race war for you. It was a 22-year-old white kid whose daddy was a Republican pastor and the whole family were Trump supporters.
God, I pray that you let the perpetrator be an immigrant. That really, really would go along with our narrative. Or, you know, maybe from a blue state. Maybe someone from California or Colorado. Even if it's just a brown person. Maybe just make it a brown person. I know we don't really let any brown people in Utah, so it'd be difficult, but it's possible. Anything's possible with you. It was a white boy. It was a white boy from down the street. Family's Republican. I'm making a what of myself? And now I'm making it worse by repeating everything into this mic.
You said his last name was Robinson? Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. What's his first name? Oh, Tyler. No! What was I hoping for? You know. Chiquavius or Muhammad.
A white man broke in today.
A white man? No! Well, what is...
Please, God, I ask that you make him brown. God, can you make this one brown? Please, don't even make him trans or anything. Just a regular brown guy. Make this one brown, God. You've made so many brown guys, so just make this one brown. Just a regular, not from here brown guy, God. I ask you. I ask you in your son's name, who was also a brown guy.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for.
Because let's not forget, when this story first broke, the first instinct from so many people online, especially the right-wing commentators, was to immediately point fingers at black people, at liberals, and at Democrats. They already created this whole picture in their head of who the killer was. So now that the truth is out and it was a white man in a white city who killed Charles, suddenly the tune changes. Suddenly it's, oh, I'm disappointed it came from one of us. But do you see the double standard here? If it was a black person, if it was maybe an immigrant, they wouldn't just be disappointed. They would have just justify every stereotype, every attack, every racist narrative against black people. And this is exactly why we must talk about this. So let's get into how the black Americans are reacting to this. I'll be right back.
I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us.
You were praying that it was a black person, a Muslim, a Jew, a trans person. You was praying that it was anybody except a straight white Christian male. And guess what, Johnny? It was a straight white Republican Christian male. And he wasn't just Christian, he was a Mormon. So you know what? This is literally the alt-right pipeline to racism. But white men clutch their pearls when other white men don't have the same bigoted and or racist beliefs. They jump back like it's second nature to them. You seen a man get popped and all of a sudden you're praying that it was a minority just so probably you can cause violence against minority groups. But what's important for this conversation, I think, is that for Caucasians, and this statement is for Caucasians in general, they have been sold a fallacy in this country that they are the greatest people on earth, that they are not connected, related to, they do not play a role in racism or bigotry, and everybody is here under them. This behavior that he exhibited is a clear sign of when that ideology breaks, that fake imaginary world that typically white men are put into, they break and they realize that they were sold a lie, shit on a plate. Tyler is a prime example of white Americans not learning an accurate view on history and how being Caucasian has played in there.
So you mean to tell me that the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, spent all of this time while they were looking for the suspect praying that he was not from this country? Huh?
This bad stuff happens. And for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country.
Now, I'm going to let him finish. But what I'm hearing him say is that you were praying that it was someone who was a person of color or someone who migrated here from another country, aka an immigrant, because an overwhelming majority of the population in Utah is white. I don't know. It feels like coded language to me. And why were you praying for that? Why wouldn't you just be praying that the person who was responsible for killing Charlie Kirk was caught? That should have been the only prayer. Demographics and place of birth shouldn't matter. You should have been solely focused on the fact that somebody lost their life and you wanted to get justice for that person. No?
Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I hoped for. Just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
No, sir, that is not why. The reason you were praying for that is because you were ready to blame another demographic of people to continue to make yourself and the population that you serve look like they're good people. But the data says otherwise.
For 33 hours straight, I prayed and I prayed that it would be an immigrant or a Muslim or, I don't know, a Mexican, a black guy, anybody. But nope, turns out it was just a straight up white guy, a Mormon from a conservative family. I mean, we even checked his 23andMe profile to see if he was like 2% Italian or Irish or something, and nothing. How are we supposed to spin this? What am I going to tell the president? That this was a mental health and gun control issue? I can't tell him that, right? Huh?
No, but for real, I need Christians to explain to me what the governor of Utah meant when he said, I was praying to God that it was not one of us. Look, I grew up in a Pentecostal church. My grandfather was a bishop. My brother's a preacher. My other grandfather's a preacher. I got cousins, preachers. I've heard a lot of sermons in my life. I've heard a lot of prayers. I was in church every day from 0 to 21. I love my church family. I don't go to church anymore, but I love my church family. I love my people. Pentecostal Church of God in Christ. I've never heard a person say what that governor of Utah said. I prayed to God that it was not one of us. I prayed that it was someone from a different state who had driven into our state or someone from a different country. What? So this is for Christians. People who call themselves Christian. What did that man mean by that? Was he hoping that it was a non-white person? Because that's how I heard it. I heard it as being a non-white person first, and then a non-American second, presumably someone from a different country, which is so odd coming from Mormon territory, because Mormons go into other countries, but South American and Central American countries that are Latino people and work to convert them to Mormonism. What did he mean by that? That was such an odd statement. And look, I don't know that governor, and I saw he was emotional up there. And it seems like he was most emotional because it was a white guy that killed that other guy. So somebody help me understand that. Some Christians out there, help me understand that.
I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered.
For him to say he really prayed that it wasn't one of them says so much, right? Like he really thought it was going to be a Democrat. Or better yet, he wanted to be a person of color. He wanted to be an immigrant. He wanted to be someone who was trans. Whatever, he wanted to be nothing but what it was, a white Republican who was heavy in MAGA. No, couldn't be. Man, it's crazy how now you want to switch up your tune and you want peace. When we should have had peace in the first place, we should have been talking about unity. But no, it wasn't an individual, it was a group of people. I mean, everybody, those liberals. I mean, all the past 2 days have been nothing but people basically making lists of Black and brown creators that they wanted to and more. I mean, I seen a woman literally almost bust a blood vessel screaming about how dare Democrats do this. And look what we have here. It's so quick for them to go ahead and accuse anybody but themselves when it's showing that the violent party is not the Democrats. It's not. But yeah, and let's not forget this dude right here. If he don't look just crazy, I don't know what crazy is. But anyway, y'all have a good day.
They are finally saying the quiet part out loud. Let me just play you the clip because you're going to be shocked to hear this.
I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I hoped for. Just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
So we have now reached the point with shootings where people are just outright saying, I wish it was someone from out of state or an immigrant because that would be easier to push my agenda. And not only that, that is a governor saying this. This is a person holding office saying some shit like this out loud. I truly don't know if we're heading for dystopian times or not, but I do know being politically correct is over. Everyone is kind of fed up. They're saying the quiet part out loud. People aren't giving sympathy on either side, and things are clearly about to get worse.
At the end of the day, the truth always comes out. It always finds a way to come out. And this whole situation shows how quick people are to demonize Black people, even when the facts are not out. It also shows how hard it is for some people to accept accountability when the violence is coming from their own. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Was the governor's statement genuine or just damage control? Drop your thoughts below. Like this video if you agree, and please don't forget to subscribe to support the channel if you haven't. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.